meses la hora, si quiero corta suficiente para entender que más.
Okay, you welcome back. It is the Channel Sport on Sunday, and then you just saw the Spanish. They call it the Spanish Armada, the army of the Iberian Peninsula, going up there to. What is this continental? Okay, North America, Canada, USA, and Mexico. Donald Trump has said next time we don't want to do co-host because it's like we were sharing the limelight with him. I think I don't know if America will host another 20 years. 1994 to 2026, we were there in 1994, but this one we couldn't make it. So basically, definitely there is no way America is going to host. He will be there in the next, even in 2030. I think he should be out. And then he's talking about America, not Donald Trump, but we know that everything about. America centers around Donald Trump for as long as he's the president of America. A good World Cup they did, a good host they were, and FIFA made a lot of money. Controversies, like we say, it is never absent in things like this. But at the end of the day, it was not to be for Lionel Messi trying to win his second World Cup. 3 finals he has played, they just won. Of course, with 2 MVPs. And then the goat debate, continues. But the thing is that this time around, I think it used to be between himself and Ronaldo. People are saying probably Ronaldo is no more, in the question. We're talking about now Pelé with 3 World Cup titles. Of course, he did play in 2 finals, winning 3. Cafu did play. Of course, Ronaldo was in that team. With Cafu, but Ronaldo did not play in 1994. He was just there as a substitute. But of course, they counted that he has won 2 World Cups, playing in 3 finals. He did not play in 1994. He played in 1998. Remember when he got, a day before, the night before, they say he was sick. But everybody surprised when Mario brought him in to be in the starting lineup. But it was the French that won their first World Cup and became the 7th nation then, to win the World Cup. Remember, of the 211 members of FIFA, only 8, you can count them on your fingers, have won the World Cup. The big ones didn't do it this time around. Brazil with 5, Norway sent them out. Germany, with 4. We saw how they couldn't progress, and then Italy with 4 also did not. Yes, they did not even qualify. The Argentines were trying to join that club of the elite where you have 4-4-5. That is in the 2023 editions or 22 before then. Just 3 countries has 13 titles. That is the dominance. That is the monopoly of the big boys. But today we are back. The Commonwealth Games have started in Glasgow, and then, of course, the Power Paralympians have been doing us proud. 2 goals in the kitty, I think about almost 3 now, and they can't stop it. And the beauty about it is, for the first time, we have a Power Paralympian as the team captain, leading the team. Those are the 2 Esthers in the lightweight that give us, gold and silver Nigeria dominance. I think. Okay, that is Esther and the other Esther is the lighter one, the one in the left. Of course, she's smiling here, but she felt disappointed. But that's the thing. So basically, we started there, and we hope that we can build not just in being as tournament host, but when we come back, the condition in which these Paralympians, train, before we send them out for competitions, breaking world records, here and there, and then, putting Nigeria, our anthem being played at, global stages is one thing that we cannot at any point discount out. So we praise them, we hail them, and like I said, Felicia, she is the team captain. She is the team captain. She got the gold also, but she's not in this. She's not in this frame that we are showing, and she is the team captain of Team Nigeria to the Commonwealth Games. He is there telling you that he is 40 years old, but he 41, and he's still winning the gold for Nigeria. Okay, there she is. There she is. There she is. There is the team captain herself, and it's all smiles. The other events will go on at the Commonwealth Games, and we shall look. Some people have been saying, how is the Commonwealth? Has it lost its value? Has it lost its relevance? It used to be so important for Nigeria, but congregating of all the past colonies of the United Kingdom, coming in, to do this. But whatever platform you have to showcase your talent, I think we grab it with all that we can. That's Team Nigeria for you. And then the WAFCON, we are going for number 11. We are going for number 11. Falcons will start on the 28th, but those things start today. Of course, that is Oluwafemi Ayo. I keep on showing her. She's leading by example. So let's go to that. We're talking about football too. WAFCON starts today, and it will be Senegal taking on Algeria. That is it in Algeria, Senegal. We have Morocco, Kenya later in the day. But you go back to Tuesday. Fast forward to Tuesday, you will see Nigeria starting our game against Malawi, and then Zambia, Egypt. Okay. At this point, let me bring in my guests who are in the house. Let me start with Benajala. How are you?
Yeah, Ken, is nice being here after the expanded World Cup. For the goal debate, I think that is left to you and your crew of Messi sympathizers. You can't take away the brilliant work of Pele, 58th final and 70th final. 70th final has come to being the epitome of what the World Cup encompasses. And for the Spaniard, we can't take away 18 players from the La Liga, and that tells you the strength of the league. And 6 players from the Argentine side playing in the La Liga. So on that day, we have 24 players from the La Liga. So I think that is something we should look forward to here.
Okay, he just set a tone. I never knew it will come straight to him, but I want to keep it at abeyance first. I want to get abeyance because I want to talk about because we are going to end with football. A lot of talk about football, but let me just introduce him before we move on. Nelson is in the house. We've been looking for ourselves. If he's looking for me, I'll be looking for him. Because they are the asset. Asset that we have, which is the NPFL, the cash cow that is supposed to be the prima donna. I'm looking about the kind of agenda to qualify what we have in our league. But the NPFL has been managed by by GTI Assets Management Company, and Nelson is an executive director there. But he is here because he is the project director of the NPFL. We spoke. We met. I think we sat down somewhere in 2022. We did some talks and other things, myself and himself and some other guys, looking about with hope and other things. So I just want to introduce him. Maybe we say one or two things. We'll come back to him because when we lines are open. Nelson, how are you?
Ken, it's nice being on board. Good afternoon, viewers out there. Again, it's nice being on this program. So I talk about sports and football in particular. We've had a very exciting 1 month plus World Cup, and now we'll be going to our local environments to look at our own various leagues. Even the European League will be starting by next month, and all the leagues most of the leagues across the world, including our own Nigerian Premier Football League too. So we are looking forward to something very exciting in the coming seasons.
Okay, so let me just leave it there. I don't want to, because when the lines are even open, you guys can just direct your questions, your calls to him, whatever. But I will ask you any question. You are going to direct your calls to the World Cup has ended. The focus is the NPFL. But before we do that, let's just take a little detour, like we said, of other sports. We're talking about the Commonwealth Games that is ongoing in Glasgow, Scotland. Coincidentally, I was in Glasgow. Is it in April? Yeah. I was in Glasgow in April, so if now for the report direct from Glasgow. But let's move on. The WAFCON, like I said, the Super Falcons, they've won. Who say it's 10? They've actually won 12, not 10 titles. some of these things coming. But the 91 edition, remember that is the year the female World Cup started in China. So the WAFCON then is used as a qualifier. Whoever, because Africa as well, whoever wins it, will go and represent. So they won it in 91, where I think that was in China. I think it was Norway or Sweden that hosted in 95. I'm just trying to get that, but they also won it. And that has been it. So, but they've not been. They just scanned that as qualifiers. Then after then now started. It was 4 years, it was 2 years, and stuff like that. So we're talking about Mission X now. So this time around, they won the Mission X. We've been told also that the $100,000 promise the girls have not been given to them. We don't know why. And then they are not defending again. They are in Morocco to defend the title, while the promises given to them, look like audio. Let us not say it is audio, because right now it has not translated. The account has not bounced. They've not had that sound. Is it bin or cow? So whether it is in naira or in dollars, equivalent, whatever it is. But we're there when the federal government, even through the president's wife, said, look, we are giving you this, and then all this, I don't know what the problem is, why they have not gotten theirs. So that is the WAFCON. They are starting. They were playing, or they're starting on Tuesday against the Malawians. And that's another important information I want to give you guys, that the female World Cup will be in 2027 in Brazil, and our AFCON is being used as a qualifier for that. You understand? Just like it was in the beginning. So now, the six space has been reserved for them. The 4 quarterfinalists, 4 semi-finalists get automatic qualification. So make it to the top 4, make it to the semi-final, and you have already qualified. So not just winning the trophy, you understand, but make it to the semi-final, and you are there. Then the other 4 quarterfinalists, out of the 8, will now do a play. There will be a playoff. There will be a playoff the way we did with DR Congo, that we should sit at home. They will do a playoff, and then whoever, the 2 teams from there will now join. So Africa will be having, because they have also expanded, to 30, it's 32, but they want to go to 48. They also want to take the female World Cup to 48, just like the male, So that will be it. And then the other beautiful story about this is that Motsepe has said, look, from this edition, he spoke 2 or 3 days ago that it will be $2 million to the winners. Nelson, let me bring you on this. $2 million for the winners. We saw the naira, the dollar reign at the World Cup. We've not the past 2 World Cup that Nigeria has not gone. I tell you this, Morocco has gotten $58 million, 31.5 in this, and 26.5 when they go to the semi-finals in 2022. 58 million Morocco has collected, but we have said that. But let us start with the female. $2 million coming into the coffers of the winners. That would project that if $2 million enter into the NPFL, just. So what your take on the increase in prize money?
Yes. These days sports is business.
Yeah.
And if you look at sports managers these days, it's gone beyond sports activity, and that is how every sports manager should start looking at sports. And what is happening is that they are growing in revenue. As far as revenue is going, all the stakeholders are supposed to benefit from this growth in revenue, because they are all involved. They're all involved in generation of these revenues. And one thing again is to also motivate the athletes and encourage them to also give up their best, because you can see now that hard work is being rewarded, and that is what sports is all about. Once you set that target and you give that incentive, you get the best out of athletes naturally. Okay. Yes.
So $2 million?
It's not bad. $2 million is good, and we believe that with time it's still going to increase more than that.
Yeah, we are saying it.
And FIFA is working towards that. If you look at FIFA, year in year out, they are innovating.
Yeah.
Year in year, they're looking at the business components of the sports. But for them, it's still like an asset that can that has been significantly commercialized. And like I said, that is the way every sports manager should look at sports, especially at the professional level.
Okay, special. It has to be money, 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 money. Everything is money, whether we like it or not. If you want to play ball, even to buy the ball, to buy the boot is money. So you can, if you take money out, you take everything out. But then the big money will be coming in. Probably the man Tyson Fury has told Anthony Joshua, if you are ready to do it in November, I'm ready. If just leave this one that this thing you just done. Can we do it in November? This contract has been signed. But then it is the date and venue. The Anthony Joshua team says probably they want to do it in UK. They want to fight before their fans, probably in the O2 in London, anywhere. But Tyson Fury says, look, we can't. I know you went to America and then the experience was not good. This would then get out. You went to America and they said, oh, you wouldn't have to go to America to go and fight. Or probably you fought this one in Saudi Arabia. We that consider be three venues that will probably in any of the three countries. But yesterday, the day before yesterday, it was Tyson Fury. Yesterday, they're picking out a 46-year-old fighter, and yesterday it was Anthony Joshua, almost being sent to the cleaners. In the very first round, after 20 seconds, he got a rude welcome after he lost his pals.
Yeah, for Joshua, that brings us back to the argument of having a glass jaw.
Yeah.
Because Joshua can give, but can he take? That has always been what has been defining his legacy. But I think the Joshua Fury fight, like the Tyson Holyfield fight, that never happened, and when it happened, it was when both boxers were absolutely past their prime. Yeah. Yes, the Tyson Fury is a fight that should have happened almost a decade ago, and now both of them have scaled their last fight. But for Joshua, when you are fighting the professional, all this round is like less than 52 rounds, so that tells you something, that the guy is not. And he can be, yes, he's old, but he's not an experienced boxer, because he has not gone the distance. Basically, all his fights have been with knockout. So there is still a question mark about his readiness, most especially this is the first fight after the sad auto mishap here in Nigeria, where he lost two of his friends. So let's see how it goes, but he needs to get very well tuned up before facing a worn out, if I may put it that way, Tyson Fury. Anything from that would just be signal the end of that legacy for Anthony Joshua.
Okay, we saw that even the Tyson Fury too. His jaw is not that. He doesn't have that chin. He doesn't have that strong chin that would say, look, even Wilder knocked him down almost three to four times. He was knocked from pillar to post by Usyk and all there. So on that day, like in the heavyweight, just one punch might just change the story, and that was the bet. The good thing for Anthony Joshua was yesterday, he got knocked down twice in the first round. The very first one, in the first 20 seconds, came out and got knocked down again, saved by the rope. He used that rope not to go down fully, but in the second round, he relied on that thing. You see what he's looking at? He's looking at that power. He has that power, and he used it. And then Christian Prenga didn't know what happened to him. He got he started with a left jab, then he started in two straight. Then brought back the left again and finished it with the right. Five punches thrown, no reply, and the guy went to sleep and never got up. And that is how that was how it ended. And then Joshua rose and said, look, I am back. But hence his manager did say, look, when he went down in the first time, he said, look, my God, probably this guy came back too early. Maybe we rushed him back into the ring after that road mishap, after that incident that took the lives of his closest pals. Of course, he did dedicate the win to them. I said this is spiritual. This is it's not just ordinary punch. It is family, and I still hot while talking about this, and that is it. So we are looking probably in the next 1 or 2 weeks or 3 weeks, the negotiations, they will decide. The contract has been signed. It is just the venue and the date that they have to put on it. So in most companies, the day when they employ you, you write your letter of resignation. They only leave the date. Even most ministers, when I tell the other all of them will submit a resignation letter. So the day you want to go, the president will just put a date on it and thank you. So the contract has already been signed. It is just for them to decide when. All right, we'll come back to Nelson. It's not Nelson of Trafalgar. It is Nelson of Nigeria, and then the Nelson of the NPFL. And Nelson, 4 years. how has it been? 4 seasons you guys have been in charge, handling, the asset part of the NPFL. But then explain to our viewers what is your involvement? What does it mean? What did you meet on ground? Where are you? Have you met? What you saw is it where they said what you buy is not what you get? This I don't understand they say that, but is it when you were coming in? Was it what you saw? And when you come, has there been obstacles? And then what is the way forward? What should Nigeria be expecting? But first, explain your what GTI does with the NPFL in our property. So if I ask you how far, so let's
Okay, the involvement of GTI, we came in December 2022.
Yeah.
And we started with the league 2022-2023, and we've worked with them for four seasons now, up to 2025-2026. Actually, when we came in 2022, the league was highly challenged, and it was, in fact, I would not say it was low, it was below ground zero. Quite a lot of challenges then. We saw that, and we knew that there were quite a lot of job to do. We're looking at it from the governance perspective. We're also looking at it from putting the proper financial management structure in place, because we also researched on some of the challenges the league have experienced in the past. So we discovered that the financial management of the league is very key in terms of accountability and transparency. And we ensured we put the proper structure in place to address that problem. The other area we're looking at, the area of corporate governance, and also the area of motivation. We felt that for clubs to play in the league for 9 months, 380 matches, we felt that the prize money was too low to motivate them, and we also needed to improve the competitive balance of the league. At least let there be something the clubs are actually looking forward to fighting for. Just like you mentioned about FIFA now, if you look at them, they're always increasing the prize money to keep motivating athletes, and we discovered that we needed to do that too. Then again, we also had to work with the league to see the other challenges, in trying to address the other challenges regarding prospective partners, because we are not sponsors. We are working with the league to ensure that the league is properly repositioned to attract all the various partners. When I mean partners, we are looking at broadcasters, we are looking at sponsors, we are looking at all the various partners that are supposed to be involved in any football league. And one thing Nigerians must know, a single entity does not develop a league. A league is developed by collective effort. Everybody playing their own role and ensuring that the league moves forward. Now, we've taken the league to a level where people can now see some kind of system and structures in place. At least now, Nigerians know that when the league says they are starting by August next month, it will start by next month, and hopefully by May next year it will end. So the calendar will be able to stabilize that calendar. Then the clubs now, if you look at the league, it's quite competitive now. Last season, it was on the last day that we were able to determine the winner. Now, we had to prepare 2 venues. We had to prepare Port Harcourt, we had to prepare Lagos, because any of the champions could emerge from the league. Again, that is achieving the competitive balance of this league, making it highly competitive. We achieved the objective. We were also looking at the winners. What about those teams that are trying to escape relegations? About 8 teams were battling relegation on that last day.
On the last day.
That last day was going to determine the fate of 2 teams. 8 teams struggling not to be part of the 2 that were going down. 2 of them were almost confirmed, but 2 were going to join them, and 8 teams had to struggle for survival. So every match venue out of the 10 venues, 9 of them was like, it's like you just have to, it was survival and somebody winning the trophy. So that last day was in fact, I don't know how to describe it. I was in Port Harcourt monitoring the venue while some of my colleagues were in Lagos. And for people that watch the matches in Lagos, they can attest to what happened in Lagos, how Rangers came to Lagos and almost turned everything out. They were able to turn everything around. And we were in Port Harcourt also. Every second we were monitoring. So it was quite interesting. That is what the whole event is all about. Now we've achieved all this. But the question is, 4 years the partners have not really come on board the way we expect. Now we have also realized some gap. They say you cannot keep doing the same thing the same way and expect to get a different result. Now, there are certain fundamentals in any sports assets. Those fundamentals border on data, analytics, and numbers. Partners want to see the numbers. You need to have proper archiving of all your materials because that is your asset. Many of these numbers must also be verifiable. It's not about just throwing numbers at people. They must be verifiable. So going into the next season, we've identified these gaps. And also many of the clubs too, they also need to do a lot. You know, many of the clubs feel it's about the league. And that is also where some analysts are not looking at the league critically. You see, the league as it is at the center, yes. But the clubs have a lot of role to play to make that league vibrant. Because it's a collective thing. So what we are going to do going into next season is that there will be enforcement from the Nigerian Football Federation. I must confess that we've enjoyed a lot of cooperation from the Nigerian Football Federation and the board of the Nigerian Premier Football League. Credit must be given to them because there's no way, we are not working alone. We are working as a team. Whatever has been achieved today is the collective effort of everyone. Also, credit must go to the Nigerian referees too. We know it is not perfect yet, but everybody can see that there are some level of improvement in every aspect of this thing. But there's still a lot of work to do. Because our target is that we are working towards making the Nigerian League #1 in Africa in the next 5 years. I say this with every sense of responsibility and commitment. And I say this with all sense of seriousness too. The point is this, going forward, clubs are going to do what they are supposed to do. The era of saying, no, it's not like this. It is definitely going to be like that. The NFF is also giving the maximum cooperation of enforcement and compliance because this asset needs to move forward. We've looked at the elements of this asset. What makes a league thrive? What makes a sports asset thrive? Nigeria has all the elements to become #1 in Africa. Everything, talent we have, numbers we have, passion we have. But there are just some few areas we need to focus on to ensure that all these elements are working together to achieve that target. So again, on the part of the clubs, it's not all about enforcement alone. It's not about just wielding the big stick. It's about also assisting them. We've also realized that many of these clubs need assistance. So we are talking of capacity building now. By next week, we'll be at Enugu organizing a workshop for the media officers of the 20 Premier League.
Let me because I know you said something, and then if I don't kind of bring you, we'll just lose that train of thought. Yes. You said the NFF are supposed to kind of do some enforcement. There are things that the clubs are supposed to do. You just praised it. What are those things that the clubs are not doing that the NFF is supposed to enforce? Okay, fine. You see, at the club level, in terms of infrastructure, they must get their infrastructures right. They are playing pitches, right? Mm-hmm. The utilities at the stadium must also be right, must be in good condition. Okay. The stadium must be clean. The club must also ensure there's adequate securities for fans to come to the stadium, have that sense of comfort, and not only protecting fans. What about the officials, even the visiting clubs? There should be some orderliness in all these things because these are some of the things that give the league value. So that is also on the part of the clubs. Again, the clubs, apart from doing all this, now looking at the structure of these clubs now, the issue of corporate governance at the club level must also be taken seriously. You see, a situation where clubs, for example, do not have platforms where people could access information, proper information about their structure, about their management, about players, about their history. I mean, all the kind of information you expect a club to have. I can tell you, they've done their own bit, but we are saying that that bit is not good enough. How many of the clubs have a website? Have websites? Well, some of them have, and some don't have. And like I said, have you done kind of do the inventory, checking to find out? Okay, fine. We have 20 Premier League clubs. Out of the 20, probably about 10 have or 10 do not have. Out of the 10 that has, I mean, you're talking about the content of the. You just talk about the things that if I click on that website, I want to know the history. I want to look at the profiles of the players. I want to look at what the club has achieved. I want to do a lot of things which you can get in any standard, whatever. So have you guys? because before you assess and say, okay, these are inadequate, you must have been able to say you have, because you are talking about verifiable data, not just banding figures there and there. Now, out of the 20 that you said, in some of these corporate governance indices that you have just identified, which of them do you think, first of all, like we said, the website, you talk about the playing pitch, sometimes we have some undulating board with bars and go to the other side, you go to a stadium, even the national, we don't have national stadiums now, so let me just go there. The clubs, most of the clubs, I don't know which of this, because the clubs do not even have their grounds.
You see.
So the ground they play that I'm sorry, because I don't want to take back. When the Olukome panel came in 1990 to say, look, let us start the league. One of the conditions that in 3 years they were giving all the clubs, you understand, opportunity to have they must have their own stadium, they must have their own whatever it is. But because most of them, are owned by the government just allowed them to use the pitch that belongs to every other sport, and then you don't have that. So how many of them have it? Are you get that? So those are things. So when people came in, you're talking about this infrastructure. How many of them have it? Have you identified it before the NFF stadium committee go around to go and everywhere to go and inspect and approve? Do you check out the ownership? Are they renting it? Is it their own? If it's on lease, and then you're talking about the condition now, whatever it is. But it is, if tomorrow the landlord say you leave, what do you now do? Are you getting me? So probably maybe Remo, we're talking about Remo Stars now having a stadium. So let me it's about you now. I have asked the questions. Please, can you just at least throw more light?
If I could chip in something.
Yeah.
You talk about the playing pitches facilities, and when CAF comes, they have their own. By the time they tick Nigeria's stadium, they'll say only 1 or 2. So what are those criteria CAF are using that we can use to ensure we be at par with them?
You see, I mentioned that these are certain deficiencies we've already identified.
Yeah.
Meaning that we have done our own due diligence and we've identified all these deficiencies.
Yes.
But you see, again, sometimes in life, what you don't have, you can't give. When I mean what you don't have, you can't give, it's about knowledge. Sometimes people just assume that knowledge is just common. It is not common. It is not common, because if you don't understand the significance of the knowledge and the value of the knowledge, you can even trivialize something that is very significant. And what we have done is that we've done our own due diligence, like you said. We've also identified these deficiencies in the area of website, in the area of pitches, and some of the things we have just mentioned with some of these clubs. Some of the clubs have done fairly well, like you mentioned. Some have not. But we've also realized, and that is the message to many of them, it is not having 20 clubs in a league and maybe 3 or 4 are doing the right thing, 16 are not doing the right thing, then you want to get results. It does not work like that. Everybody must be compelled to do the right thing. And the fact is that it has gotten to a level where, like I said, sports managers in 21st century, I did a master's in sports management. And I remember when I was doing my master's program, we had the third set. It's the IOC Masters in Switzerland. They say we are trained as modern day sports managers who is supposed to know little about everything and not so much about little.
Yeah, just look up. Let's look at like an MBA course.
It's even more than an MBA. The program I attended is even more than an MBA. So we are trained to have knowledge, little knowledge about everything, not about so much knowledge about small things. So when we look at a sports project, like the way FIFA is looking at it, the Olympics, they look at it from a very holistic perspective. They look at every element, because every single element in that system contributes its own value. And when you neglect some, it affects the working of the whole system.
Exactly.
Now, the problem is that we are now dealing with people who don't understand the importance of these little elements we are talking about, and they are trivializing it.
Have you pointed it out to them?
That is where the issue of capacity building comes into place. The issue of training.
Is it the first time you want to do it, or have you done it before?
We've been doing it, and we're also going to be having one in Enugu for the club media officers and for the marketers, and we're also going to still have some for the club chairmen too. But again, like I said, even after this training and making people understand, you want to first of all train, make them understand, then you now move into the area of enforcement and compliance. And even in that process, you also need to be guiding them to ensure that they get it right and they do it properly to achieve the desired result.
Okay, I do have a question, but before I ask you a question, I want to say the lines. We want to open the lines. You guys can join the conversation now. It is about the league. The World Cup has ended. Like we said, we were not there. The African Cup winners, is it Confederations Cup, CAF Confederations Cup, CAF Champions League. We just have only Rivers United. I think the first time in about 6 how many years that qualified for the group stage. And of course, we know how how it ended. So it has not been what the days of Rangers, Shooting Stars, Beden Insurance, BCC Lions, that go on the continent and they say they play over there. Rangers taking on half share of Guinea in the CAF Champions Cup final. Then right here in Lagos, Shooting Stars beating Tone Kalara in the finals and stuff. So we've dominated. Even when the CAF Cup came, the Shooting Stars became the first country in Africa, the first club in Africa to win it. You understand? So we have the Winners' Cup, we have the CAF Cup, we have the Champions Cup for the champions. Then it was thriving. So sometimes you say you want to go back here and sell yourself. But why do we have to always believe that our yesterday is better than why others are progressing, why others are moving on? We are shifting. We are turning ourselves into the farm while processing our talents. We are pushing them over there so that we get them back as peanut. So the lines are open. Whatever you believe now, the focus is on the league. The focus is on our league. Of course, we have the men's league that we're talking about Sunday. We shall also have to talk about the women's league and see. Let me ask him this question. Of course, the pronouncement didn't come from him, but then the Sport Commission, said they want to direct the clubs. I don't have feasibilities that the minimum salary for the players in the league is 2 million naira per month. Now, look at the implication of that. No clubs is going to have less than 25, 26 players. So they have about 35 players in their employ. So we're talking about maybe paying about 60 to 70 million as salary every month. And the revenue stream, he has not talked about the revenue stream. We're not asking, what from their books, if they're interacting with the clubs, how much do clubs make in a year, or the budget has to come from the state government, from the state budget every year to pay players, to play coaches, to take care of every other thing. The cash cow is now becoming a burden on the people instead of ameliorating whatever the economic pressure, financial pressure that they have. So I ask you this: 2 million naira, it didn't come from you, but the opinion that you guys will have looked at it. How feasible?
Well, if you look at the short-term measure, one would say we could have some challenges there, trying to meet up such demand. But let us also, for us, we will not look at only just the short term. We look at both the medium and the long term.
Yeah.
For us, even that 2 million for the long term is small.
Okay.
You understand? The question is, clubs must know that they have high level capacity to generate revenue.
All right.
Today, they are not focusing on those areas on how they can generate significant revenue.
Okay.
I also want to borrow a leaf from FIFA, even from Olympics. Let's use them as an example. If you look at FIFA and even the Olympics, 20, 25, 30 years ago, they were not giving this kind of prize money. They were not giving this prize money, this amount of prize money they are giving.
But if you are looking at FIFA, you want to be looking at the clubs now. You should be looking about the FA, because those are the control. We're talking about the clubs.
I'm talking about an asset now. An asset that has the capacity to generate revenue.
Yes.
What has happened over the years with FIFA? They've been innovating year in, year out.
Totally agree.
They've been innovating year in, year out. That is why today, if you look at what they paid yesterday, they are paying more today. So what we are saying is that club managers should now know that football is not just about assembling 35 players, putting them in a bus, taking them to one match venue and go and get 3 points, and after the 3 points, you go to sleep. No. Modern day football management it goes beyond that significantly. That is good. some aspect of it. But what is going to fund this thing now is the other revenue generating component you are going to focus on significantly to see how you can activate those channels. Because once you activate them very well and you're able to meet the expectations of the public, you're able to meet the expectations of the prospective partners, the money you are looking for, you definitely get them. But as far as you're not doing those things that is expected of you, or those things that will attract them to come in, you won't get you won't attract that revenue. So even if they tell you to pay 100,000 naira per month, it's going to be a challenge, even if it's 100,000 naira per month. So what we are saying is that, like I told you, moving into the league now, going to future seasons, we are going to work with this club. There's a lot of
which areas. Okay, one question.
You know, when you said there will be training in Enugu and you mentioned marketers, I laughed because I don't think any marketer exists for those clubs. I give you an instance. The German model, you have the 50+1 rule, where it's community owned. And that is why even when club was announced as manager, some people were protesting. Why? Because he became the global ambassador for RP Lesbic, and they said, look, this is the only team that has violated the 50+1 rule in German football, that they are more of capitalist instead of community driven. And so coming back here, I tell you why I said that I don't think that any marketer exists. I doubt if there is any Nigerian club today you can via e-commerce purchase their jersey, and these are just the low-hanging fruit. So if we started with saying the presidency promise, president himself $100,000, but you know the bottlenecks. The IGR is something that they are low-hanging fruit that you can finance your operations. But the way don't let me say God forbid, if subsidy is introduced today, the clubs will have problem because it will affect the finances of the state government, and definitely clubs that are spending money now will have little or nothing to spend. So I think maybe the focus should be on letting the clubs know how they can actually get this revenue, and that takes us to corporate governance. If corporate governance says, look, your shareholders should be this, maybe 10%, not only state government, but you must have certain number of shareholders, I think they will be forced to comply. If not, you started with enforcement without making these things mandatory. It has happened in the banking sector. It has happened in so many other sectors where government has said, look, we need to minimum capitalization, even the minimum wage. So I think if we do that, as you said, when they don't generate more, even 50,000 will become a problem. So the issue is not about the 2 million, but it's about the model for actually generating this money. And that is why today a governor is going for an outing, a governor that owns 3 clubs, so with the aid and the governor are still wearing national jersey.
We're still with Nelson. Nelson, the issue here now is you talk about IGR revenue generation.
Internally generated revenue.
How do you generate the revenue? Because now the directive from the National Sport Commission is talking about expenditure. The focus is like putting the cart before the horse. Now, you earn before you spend. You have said they have not set up. He just mentioned, look, e-commerce, you want to buy a jersey. It's part of the income streams, you know that you from here, this thing can come in. Now, have you guys identified the income streams? You understand that these clubs can, go into that? How do other clubs? I remember, was it 94, 95 when Ajax was doing so well? You understand? Ajax was doing so well. They were, the European champions and stuff like that. Do you know that Ajax went to meet Manchester United? And look, how do you do your merchandising? How are you making so much money while we are not? They went to understudy. It's a big club. On the field, they are doing well, but outside, they are not getting the money. So, have you guys studied how clubs make money? Not out throughout the world, and then localize it to our environment, and say, you clubs, instead of waiting for governor to have sport-loving governor to give you money, sport-loving governor is giving you taxpayers' money to run football clubs. You understand? A professional football club, which is an aberration in his place. Have you guys, what have you guys done in that regard? Have you had any interaction? Have you had any discussion with them in that particular regard?
Yes. Now, you just mentioned all the salient points that is expected. I mean, what you have just mentioned are the obvious things that is supposed to happen in this in the Premier League. The issue of corporate governance. Like I told you, we're working with the league, and our relationship with the league is in phases.
Okay.
I'll say that for the first 4 years, we've understood the league, understood all the gaps, challenges, and everything across all board. We've also worked with them to help beef up some of those areas of deficiencies. We are moving into the second phase of our work with the league, which is called the transition phase.
Okay.
This transition phase now is now looking at all these components you have just mentioned now. Looking at corporate governance. Can a club totally remain under government in perpetuity? How do we look at it? Mind you, I'm coming from the financial sector.
Yes.
I've been part of the banking transition. I've been part of the capital market transition. I'm a chartered stockbroker by profession. So I understand all this transition that happened. Look, I always tell people the Nigerian league football system today can be likened to the banking sector in the 80s. If you look at in the 80s, government owned most of the banks.
Yes.
Which is not different from what is happening today. Little did anybody know that a Nigerian bank today will be big enough not only to operate in Nigeria, but even operate beyond Nigeria and dominate in other countries. It's about the transition that happened. So the Nigerian Premier League now is at that crossroad now of change and transition. But again, you know that when this transition process is coming, there's what is called the change resistant phase.
Yeah.
We're in the change resistant phase. There's a confusion now. Everybody's speaking from everywhere, and some actors are feeling threatened. Some are feeling their future is not secured. Some are feeling that, oh, how is this transition phase going to look like? I always tell people one thing: what a generation refuses to do, a future generation will come and do it. You're only buying time. The banking sector have gone through their own. We've seen the result. The capital market, the insurance industry, they've gone through their phase. We've seen the result. Now, even the music industry, whether we like it or not, they've gone through their phase. Once upon a time, it was the foreign music that was dominating in Nigeria. And some people took it upon themselves to start that transition process, to say, no, we can do it, and got some talented musicians, and they started the process. Today, I can imagine some Nigerians 30 years ago, we never believed that a Nigerian musician would dominate the whole world today. In fact, many of them will never believe that a Nigerian musician will be at the World Cup, at the NBA, at the UEFA. It's like you don't have a
Even at the Paris Olympics,
even in Qatar.
Yes, champions,
even in Ballon d'Or.
Yes, so exactly, the Ballon d'Or.
So
yeah,
those are Nigerians born in Nigeria.
Exactly.
They are not foreigners. What did they do? They embraced the change and adapted themselves to what is in line with modern trends. And what happened? They keyed in, and today they are there. So I keep telling some of our colleagues in the Nigerian football ecosystem, this is how we used to do it 30, 40 years ago. That experience must be qualified because the experience has not given results. So don't boast about that experience. It's not an experience to boast about because the result is not there. You should boast about something that is giving results. You don't boast of something that is not giving results. So what I'm trying to say in effect is, you see, we're all involved in this thing. It's a transition phase, and I can tell you that transition has started because I was part of a 6-month committee in the NPFL that sat and met, and we came up with some propositions which has been submitted for consideration and approval. And some of these things that have been discussed today are all embedded there. So you see, like in the banking sector, you know what happened in the banking sector? The banks that were not willing to comply, what happened to them? They have to quit the same.
Yeah.
So it's a question of, if you know you are not willing to comply, or you believe that the capacity is above you, or you cannot adapt,
Okay.
then
Briefly before, because we are lost for time now, it's almost finished. Just take 60 seconds or so if it is possible to do this. Have you guys thought of a particular model that will be suitable to our own system? Is it the La Liga model? Is it the Bundesliga model? Is it the EPL model? Or which model that you guys just frame and say, this is what you propose? He's just talking about the 50+1 model that the Bundesliga has in their football. And sometimes they tell you the foreign players, number of this and stuff like that. A lot of them say this is how the English league they rediscover themselves after the hooliganism plague era. So what do you have you discovered anything? Have you tried to model the NPFL towards any particular part? I say this is where the corporate governance are talking about will come from.
yes, we've done that.
Okay.
We did that at the committee level, and we're still going to do more.
Okay.
We've done it, and that is why I tell you, going into next season, Nigerians are going to see what has happened in the Nigerian Premier League before. And I can tell you, we are very confident that once we are able to get everybody on board, it's not about even paying 2 million. In another 3, 4, 5 years, that 2 million naira per month should not be something clubs should be celebrating about. They should be thinking about playing players 20 million, 30 million naira per month. And that is where I think we in the sports sector, that is the target.
Okay, 10 seconds.
1999, we hosted the second most important football competition in the world.
20.
10 years after, we hosted the third most important football competition in the world. 70 years after, we have only one free stadium.
Only one free stadium. You guys have done 4 years now.
Yes.
How many years remaining? 6 years?
We have 6 years and even more to go.
Okay. Let's say it will be years of progress. You had him. It is a continuous conversation that we'll be having with their team before the league starts. Probably in August, we'll bring them back here, and probably the NPFL team. But then until we meet you again next Sunday, I'm Ken Ochonogo. All right, I can't forget that. God bless Nigeria.